Senator Kelly. Senator Ernst, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ms. Creedon and Senator Kyle, for being here today, and thank you as well for your leadership on this commission, for providing a comprehensive look at the long-term strategic needs of our great United States. We have heard a lot of different discussions about China and Russia and their implications. But of course, as we've seen over the last few days, Iran is more dangerous than ever. And so we must ensure that the U.S. has unquestionable nuclear deterrent. And we have focused on this in the past. The Defend Act, which was put into last year's National Defense Authorization Act, provided for the integrated air and missile defense systems, tying together those countries that are in the Abraham Accords and protecting them against the threat of Iran. So, Ms. Creedon and Senator Kyle, the commission focused on not only nuclear forces, but also non-nuclear capabilities that you said could have strategic and even existential threats in unforeseen ways. So to that, what steps can we take to ensure that the U.S. is at the cutting edge of emerging technologies? And Ms. Creedon, you spoke to this just briefly. Big data analytics, quantum computing, artificial intelligence, all of those areas to avoid strategic surprise and potentially enhance our U.S. strategic posture. So how can we focus on those areas to contribute to our strategic defense?
Thank you for that, Senator. So to be brief here, I would say there are probably two things. One is to make sure that we invest, that the U.S. resumes or maintains, depending on which area we're talking about, the research and development, the leadership in the technology, making sure that all of the funding is needed so that we maintain our edge. And the second thing is really look at what is going on in the defense establishment procurement system so that these things can be brought into our capabilities in a fashion that meets the timely requirements. I mean, it isn't going to do any good if it takes 10 years to get new technology in, because it will be old by then.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Noted. Thank you so much for that. And Senator Kyle, the commission recognized that over the next decade, the homeland will face escalating challenges and an evolution of adversarial capabilities within critical technologies. So in what ways should the Secretary of Defense approach a strategy and associated strategic posture changes to address the threats posed by emerging and disruptive technologies, including AI and quantum?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Ernst, and this particularly is with reference to protecting the homeland.
Yes.
We were concerned about that, not only because of the ballistic missile threat, but because of all of the other kinds of delivery threats now that have emerged. These include the cruise missile threat, the hypersonics with the Chinese have some capabilities that are particularly troublesome here with their fractional orbital bombardment system, for example. The United States is lagging behind in developing both offensive and defensive capabilities against these new weapons. This is one of the reasons why we made an urgent recommendation here that the Department of Defense immediately begin an RDT&E program. And we specifically said RDT&E because this can't be just research and development. This has to be with the goal of producing weapons that can defeat the enemy and getting them deployed. And that's why we say that we need to deploy the next generation interceptors as soon as possible, that we need to develop and field the IAMD capabilities, integrated air and missile defense capabilities, that can deter and defeat coercive attacks by Russia and China. That Congress should appropriate the funds necessary for the centers and interceptors necessary to defend these assets. And we specifically say that the Secretary of Defense should direct research, development, test, and evaluation into advanced IAMD capabilities, leveraging all domains, including land, sea, air, and space. These activities should focus on sensor architectures, integrated command and control, interceptors, cruise and hypersonic missile defenses, and area or point defenses. If any of these capabilities prove feasible, the department should pursue deployment with urgency. So, yes, you've got your finger right on one of the big problems here. Our two potential adversaries here are ahead of us in developing these capabilities, and we don't yet have the defenses to deter them. So we need to do that with alacrity and with urgency.
I appreciate that, Senator Kyle. Too often we think about simply the missile or a nuclear warhead just to our citizens out there, but there is a lot more that goes into these systems. And the ability to be able to detect and intercept threats coming from other adversaries, and then deployability of our own systems. And a lot of that is dependent upon where we are with AI and quantum computing. So thank you all so much for this incredible work. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator.